CM Punk is injured and an interim AEW champion is going to be crowned. A new match has been added to Hell in a Cell, and Drew McIntyre has challenged Roman Reigns to an undisputed Universal title match. Stay tuned. So, pretty bad timing on this one. AEW World Champion CM Punk has broken his foot and he has to undergo surgery. This was revealed on Rampage last night. However, Punk is still officially the AEW World Champion despite the injury. It all got a little bit convoluted, a bit confusing on the broadcast last night, not helped by Chris Jericho, who said that he might have relinquished the belt. He hasn't relinquished the belt. We're going to run down the key points for you now. He comes out and he does this big emotional speech after saying on Twitter that he was going to come out and address something to do with himself and the world title. Immediately everybody's thinking the worst.
Yeah.
This is bad. It's not as bad as it could have been. So he said that he offered to relinquish the title, but Tony Khan said, no, this is just a bump in the road. It's all good. You're going to hold it. We're going to crown an interim champion. Hate interim champions.
Yeah, me too.
Not a fan.
It's just, it feels kind of pointless, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit naff. You know, one good thing about this interim champion thing is, right, think back to when CM Punk left WWE, comes back, does the stare down with John Cena. They can do that again. There's a nice little parallel there. So that champion, the interim champion, is going to be crowned on June 26th in Chicago, Forbidden Door. So we're going to summarize all of the key points here because it got so confusing and because various reports are going around saying the wrong things. So Punk is not relinquishing the title. Chris Jericho. There will be a battle royal to kick off Wednesday's Dynamite. We don't know how many people are going to be in that. There's going to be a battle royal. The winner of that battle royal will face Jon Moxley in Wednesday's main event. And then the winner of that match will move on to the interim world title match at Forbidden Door. We don't know who he's going to face, the Moxley or whoever wins the battle royal, or whoever gets there, right? I'm making this even worse, aren't I? You would imagine it's Tanner, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that match was lined up, so maybe it'd be interesting to be like, oh, could Tanner maybe be an AEW champion? And, you know, you could have the excitement of that there.
Yeah, there's a bit of fun there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's just a bad situation, isn't it? Like, it's just horrible, especially after such a crowning moment.
Yeah, right. It's
like the worst possible time for it to happen, and you know,
they're gearing up for the third summer of Punk,
Yeah.
and this happens. It's terrible timing. And then at some point in the future, Punk will face the interim champion in a unification match.
Yeah.
So there's loads and loads of possibilities here, and we could sit here and speculate all day as to who's going to win that battle royal, or maybe it'll just be Moxley, maybe it'll be Johnny Two-Time.
You know, it's sort of, we have a roadmap for where we're going with this. It's just the who's and whens are all kind of very up in the air right now.
I would personally have it be Eddie Kingston, because that's a nice way of doing the Eddie CM Punk match.
Oh yeah, and Eddie Kingston with the gold, the promo work. He's not going to want to give that up, regardless of Punk coming back. It would be great.
I think that could be really good. And then maybe have MJF defeat Kingston when the Tony Khan authority work shoot stuff. So I don't know. I'm spitballing here. You can let us know your thoughts and your pictures in the comments below. A new match has been added to tomorrow night's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. It's a big one. Madcap Moss returning on last night's SmackDown. He's been away for a little bit, and they've put a lot of thought into his presentation. He comes out, and he's now got black trunks.
Ooh,
that's it. It was worth the wait.
Yeah.
I really like Madcap Moss. He's going to be facing Happy Corbin at Sunday's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. And it's not just that, but it's going to be a no DQ match as well. So they had a little match, the big scrap. Adam Pearce comes out and announces the match. No holds barred, sorry, not no DQ. So the card is shaping up all right. It's certainly, on paper, not going to be one of the most memorable Hell in a Cells, but you never know. You never know.
Anything can happen.
A lot of big stars missing from this one, as we've discussed at great length. So your main event, you got to imagine the main event anyway, the Hell in a Cell match, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins 3. You got the Raw Women's Championship, Bianca versus Asuka versus Becky Lynch, US titles on the line, Theory versus Ali. You got a handicap match, Omos and MVP versus Bobby Lashley, Kevin Owens versus Ezekiel, Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Liv Morgan versus Edge, Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley of Judgment Day, and then of course that no holds barred match that we just mentioned there. I think this should be a big win for I'd say big win. It's Corbin. it should be a win for Moss, so he can go and do other stuff now.
Yeah, I think this is where we can draw the definitive line. As much as I love Corbin, I think, you know, he tends to get caught in this trap where it seems to be the same thing quite a lot of the time over and over again for him until every last drop of juice is squeezed out of it, and then it's like straight in with another one. But I like Corbin. I find him funny. I find him to be fun to watch. So I don't so much mind when it's just like redo of his matches, because they all seem to drag on 1 month too long.
Yeah. Precisely 1 month. No, I don't know. Yeah, Corbin's good. I think he plays his role really well. Yeah. And hopefully, Madcap Moss can just move up the card. And then maybe Corbin gets in a feud that he actually comes out on top of. It'd be nice. He's always putting people over.
Get some gold on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big one. Go on. Speaking of the big one, Drew McIntyre, he's a big one. He's challenging a big dog for a big one. He's come out last night on SmackDown, very eventful SmackDown, challenging Roman Reigns to an undisputed Universal title match at Clash at the Castle. So this means Tyson Fury was busy that night.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were expecting that to be Fury versus Drew. There was a lot of kind of hype building to that. Everything was pointing to that. There were all the rumors that Tyson Fury was gearing up for a WWE return, and
he'll do it. He'll be back.
He'll be back for sure. But I thought they would try their hardest. Maybe they did. I don't know to get him at this show. But
so it's the biggest match that Drew could possibly have.
Yeah,
it's in the UK. This worries me a little bit because as much as I like Drew, really like Drew, I don't want to see him beat Roman.
Imagine it happens at the end of the Tron, it just comes up with non-canon.
Right. Dude, it's a dark match.
Everybody comes out, shakes hands, they hand their belts back over.
Yeah. And how do you position that on the card if Drew isn't winning, which I don't think he should personally, but it's in the UK.
It's one of those things where if you're going to have a screwy finish, you're going to have to put it on quite early in the show. But Roman
goes on first or last.
You can achieve that with the Brock Lesnar Mania thing, right? Coming out, well, we're not closing, we're opening, so we can get out of here. So I think that you could maybe do it there if you want Drew's finish to be a bit screwy and have him not win, because then ultimately we've got a whole show to forget about it. But if it happens at the end, that is going to be a very flat note, regardless of whatever the dark segment is afterwards. It'll be a very flat note for the UK fans in attendance.
It's a weird one. Like, it's a massive match, obviously, and maybe he'll just win.
He might just do it. I wouldn't understand it. Because it's really felt like they're trying to double down on the Roman thing for the longest possible time they can. But at the same time, they are prone to a bit of crowd pandering. And not that I'm saying there would be crowd pandering, but it very much would be having Drew win in the UK. That would be a very big moment for us as a fan base. Yeah. So it is kind of like, oh, are they going to do it?
There are just other people that I'd like to see beat Roman. First and foremost, Cody.
Yeah.
We'll see anyway. Also in big news, Natalya is going to be challenging for the SmackDown Women's title. This was a weird one, right? 6-pack challenge on the match. And you always stick Natalya in something like that so she can get beat, right? She goes and wins the bloody thing, despite the fact that Raquel Rodriguez...
How dare she?
I'm livid. No. You know what? This is actually all right.
Yeah.
Raquel Rodriguez, doing decent stuff in there. But Natalya goes on to win the bloody thing.
Right.
It's all right here. I'm not the biggest Natalya fan. I've made that clear. And people got upset. But this is all right because Ronda Rousey and her trainee, they've got stuff to work with there. And I actually think that one thing Natalya could do with is a proper beefy storyline. And this isn't going to go on too long or anything like that, but it could be entertaining because there's a nice dynamic there.
Yeah, and you kind of got to hope that Ronda will carry her through a lot of that promo stuff, because Natty is...
Oh, Ronda's crap too.
I know, but you know what I mean? Is like, you got to hope the game, the build's going to be interesting. But I don't know. I think you're right. We've needed something juicy for Natalya to sink her teeth into for quite some time. So maybe this is just going to be a fun little thing. I don't know.
Fun's a strong word.
Yeah.
Moving on, finally, on next week's SmackDown, a match that should be going on at Hell in a Cell, let's be honest. The IC title is going to be on the line.
The what belt? Is it big and blue or the other one?
What?
Has it got the big logo? Is it the main belt?
The IC?
Yeah, so it doesn't exist. It doesn't matter.
I rarely see it on pay-per-view, that's for sure. Gunther challenging Ricochet, which I cannot wait for. A serious clash of styles. It's going to be so good. And Gunther, no offense to Ricochet, obviously Ricochet's IC reign, through no fault of his own, has been a massive washout. Gunther could make that belt very, very special indeed. Have a nice lengthy reign,
especially if he wins it with a 630 cent on chop.
Stop it.
If he keep keeps the arm out while flipping, and then just.
I think they can have something really special in that match. I just feel a bit bad for Ricochet because he didn't get to do the Mania stuff.
It's really kind of it's amazing how much they've glossed over all of it, and I think Gunter would be a good shout for IC. He's somebody who I'd like to see, with that title, kind of, a bit of a different dynamic, because the IC belt's been quite recently, just, the domain of the sort of smaller, flippier guys, and it hasn't really felt like we've had like a big power player for a while.
Yeah, I think he can make it feel pretty special. I'm looking forward to the match, that's for sure. I almost want him to squash Ricochet. As much as I feel sorry for Ricochet for what's been a crap reign, and it's, again, not his fault, I'd love him to just get battered.
Yeah, if at any point, if he just catches him out of the sky, just starts, commences the beatdown, like
bollocks thing. And take that. Right. We will be back with some more big news. It's been a big week of wrestling news. We'll be back in a few hours with a little bit more. And if we don't see you beforehand, I'll see you on the stream on Sunday night ahead of Hell in a Smell, which I'm not going to be doing. Take care.